Isiah Leggett leaves office at the end of 2018 after serving 3 terms as Montgomery County, Maryland's first African-American executive. He admits that he learned a lot and has some hard-earned advice to offer. I'm MCM reporter Doug Tallman. I spoke with Leggett about the skills he feels are needed to run Maryland's largest and most diverse county, and what voters should look for in the next county executive. What kind of skills do you think the next county executive ought to have? I mean, what are you looking for in the person you vote for?
Well, first of all, a person needs to be a consensus builder, a person who can lead by example and direct involvement, because we have a very large county now that's over 1.1 million residents, a budget that's $5.6 billion, one of the more diverse communities in all of America. And there are an awful lot of competing interests that are out there, and you cannot easily satisfy all of those interests. And so the best thing that you can do is to bring people together, to listen, to build consensus around the ideas, and rely upon the community to have a voice in the decision that you will make. One of the things that I did that I think really helped me was to get out and talk to the community. We had all kinds of budget forums, town hall meetings, and a large number of activities whereby I engaged the community. Therefore, you had a better sense of what was happening within the community. The community was in fact involved. There was transparency. And when you made decisions, the decisions were made on the basis of information, on the basis of ability to try to bring people together. And even if people sometimes disagreed with the decision, they understood the process. They believed that they had a voice, at least some level of participation therein, and they respected the decision for the most part. That's the first thing to do. Secondly, you have to communicate very well in that process. Effective communication, I think, is key. And knowledge of the community. It doesn't mean that day one you know everything about the entire county, but that you are constantly engaged in how you can continue to learn about the community as a whole. And I think relying upon staff, having the right people around you, because this is a large county, a large bureaucracy. Montgomery County, in terms of its budget, the number of people, is oftentimes viewed as larger than many states, and we are. Probably if you look at 7 or 8 states, we're probably larger than they are. So as a result of that, this is not a one-person show. It is a show as at least a leadership that involves bringing the right people around you to make the appropriate decision, engage in the community, and then trust in your judgment. Now there's something also subjective to that, and that's something what I call the sort of instinct. It's not written in the textbooks. It's not something that you can go to others to rely upon always. It is when you see something, feel something that is not right, sometimes you have to trust your instincts. I would not suggest that on all decisions, but at some point in time, you get to a point and say, you know, my instinct tells me that this is right or this is wrong, and I'm going to rely upon my instinct in terms of the direction. So you have to combine all of those things and know when to go instinctively, when to rely on other people, when to in fact push back, but you have to be firm in your decision, and when you make a decision, move on.
Your tenure for the last 12 years has been marked by the financial crisis and clawing our way out of that. What kinds of financial skills would you expect in the next county executive, or is that something that they can delegate to somebody else?
It's a combination of both. Some things you can delegate because, again, there's a level of complexity that a person engaged at the level of the county executive will not be involved in day to day. The decision I made, I think, was probably the best decision I made in terms of my tenure as county executive. When I came aboard, I decided to select someone who had a financial background to become the chief administrative officer. And I had some pushback for some people who said, a finance guy running the entire county, you know, those guys are people that look at the numbers and the green shades and they don't see the big picture, and why would you make such an unconventional decision? Well, one, I knew the person I was going to select. He's honest, hardworking, one of the most intelligent people that you can find in Tim Feinstein. Secondly, and probably more importantly, I gauged that the challenges not only facing Montgomery County at the time, but the challenges that would face us in the foreseeable future would be around finance. This was before the crisis. Simply looking at the budget has gone up The budgets in Montgomery County had gone up over 40% in the prior 4 years before I became county executive. You could see that challenge already there. And so recognizing the challenges that we had at the time and the potential challenges going forward, I wanted someone who would tell me what I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. Someone with a financial background, the expertise, in order to give me the advice that I needed. And so I selected a financial person because to me, that was the most challenge for us going forward. And so as a result of that, I think that we weathered this storm and came out far better than many others. We maintained our AAA bond rating. We've gone from a low of $79 million in financial reserves. To the time I leave office, it would be $500 million, from 2.1% of financial reserves to 9.4%. We've either constructed or maintained 77,000 affordable housing units. And you look at the infrastructure, whether or not you talk about fire stations, police stations, recreation centers, roads, every indication of success along those lines, I think that we made tremendous progress in those areas. So the financial part of it was, I think, a real challenge for us, and we managed to do it very well. Unfortunately, you had to be in a position of leadership at the worst time for the county and probably since the Great Recession. But I think the way we handled it and the way we're coming out of it, I think placed the county in a pretty good position.
Stay connected to your community with MCM. Watch the entire Leggett Legacy series on mymcmedia.org.